Hello, Ray Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Star Wars Battlefront Part 9. So this time around, we're going to liberate Cloud City. So it's after the events of Empire Strikes Back, when the Empire took over the mining facility on the Tabana Gas mining facility on Cloud City, and we need that Tabana Gas to destroy the second Death Star. I'm not sure if they exactly know about that yet, but we do. But the Empire is building a second Death Star, and we need Tabana Gas to go and get to power our weapons against the second Death Star, so we need to liberate Cloud City. So by doing that, we're going to do what we always do, where we send the rebel forces in there and destroy the large swarm, the large legions of Imperial troops. This is just the same old stuff as it was always done before. It's simple. Win. Winning alone is not a strategy, but in this case, it kind of is, because all we have to do is just simply go ahead and blast down all the troops. I'm pretty much always a soldier class. There are classes in this game, as you may have noticed. But I find I do best with the standard soldier, so that's why I often play as a standard soldier, because he's just, the best one. He's the best soldier there is. And we look like actual, like soldiers that could be like people from like army men in real life. And the Empire has an advantage over us again in this battle. They begin with a much larger garrison than us. But we have this greater advantage that I actually have a brain, as I keep saying. I'm actually smart compared to these people. I've been in college for 5 years. I have an advanced, a bachelor's degree in animation, 3D and 3D animation. And I also am working towards getting an associate's degree in computer software, so I can learn how to code software and code stuff. But then again, I haven't really done much actual coding for significant software. I've barely done any of that at all. I bet I could learn more about that from reading that instruction book that came with my Raspberry Pi, where I was going to make clone games and stuff. And so now here we are. And then so now this level's mostly just lava, rinse, repeat. We're just scouting around, and we're just gonna look, and we're just gonna move. You see, it's really easy to hide in places. This is a really good level to snipe people at. It's really easy to hide on like a bridge or something there, stand on a bridge and then look down below and you can snipe them. As you see, they got that neutral command post. There's only one command post that began neutral, but now it looks like the Empire got it. It's showing up as being red, meaning it belongs to the opposing team. I already have 14 kills already, and most of the Empire people that died so far in this battle were from me. Most of the kills in general are ones that I'm responsible for. I've killed most of them. I killed more than most other people. It's no surprise. Like I keep saying, I don't think your other people even try. They're probably just like those average civilians I was talking about in that other video, don't actually care who wins or not, because their lives are completely unaffected by this war. Just a minor inconvenience happening somewhere on the opposite end of the galaxy. Which reminds me of something else, too. I wonder if it's possible to learn some of the coding languages, the assembly coding languages of some of these old game systems like PS1 or PS2, and then I wonder if it's possible to code your own games for PS2. I mean, nowadays people mostly do. When people make their own games, they usually make 2D games, like simple, fun little 2D games. But if that becomes more advanced with technology advancing, maybe I'll be able to make my own PS2 games eventually. Wouldn't that be cool? I can make the true sequel of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Well, it wouldn't actually be called Star Wars Battlefront 3, but it would probably be something like that, like a game like that. I was considering making a game that's like Star Wars Battlefront, but it's going to be more elaborate. It's going to involve my intellectual property. It's probably going to be based on my Ivan's War series, since that's most like Star Wars, but make it have Jason and Mason or Odyssey of Odyssey stuff. We have the different, like they're clone soldiers or something like that, and they're going against the evil clones of the enemy soldiers, and they fight against each other with weapons and stuff like that. I think that sounds like an interesting premise for a game. I bet my biggest fan, Supertown70 or Carlos Supotown, whatever they call him, my biggest fan, I bet he would love that idea. He's watching this video, he's probably going to comment on that saying, yeah, it does sound like a good idea to make a game based on this. Or based on that premise I came up with. I would like to. I could imagine all the stuff I come up with being in video games in the future. I never specifically invented my stuff for video games. It's funny, considering how big of a gamer I am in real life, you think I would be interested in working in the gaming industry? I am a little bit, but it was never really a major ambition of mine to work in the gaming industry. I thought more of working in the film industry or the TV industry, but those industries are kind of dying now thanks to indie. Well, it's been proven now that indie people like indie filmmakers, indie TV people, like the people at CI Squared, the indie animation firm that I work for, those are the kinds of people that I want to work for. And that's not really a job that pays very well. Sure, you gotta do what you love, but it doesn't really pay well as a job, so I have to find something else, like getting into software, which is where I may have to work on games or stuff like that to get money, or just software in general. I have learned to do some C# coding, which is derived from the C language, which is a language used by Microsoft, similar to Java. And it's derived from the C language. Every derivative of the C language is a C plus language, which a lot of PC software is coded using the C plus language. But I learned C#, which is mostly used for .NET programming, where you can actually use a database, which reminded me of something else I wanted to come up with. I came up with one. I think YouTube should have a search filter, like a year filter on YouTube. Like when you're searching for a YouTube video you saw a long time ago, but you can't find it because you don't remember exactly what it's called. There's way too much stuff, and you know it's a long time ago. You know what it was. You should be able to put a search filter on there so you could go back to a certain year. For example, there was a Lego Spider-Man video I saw in 2008 that I know I really loved. It was a really awesome video, but I can't find it anywhere. If you type in Lego Spider-Man, it's going to get stuff that's much newer, and it's nothing to do with what I'm searching for. So using this idea of the search filter, I could put a 2008 filter on there. I could set it the filter, so it's only going to give me videos that were uploaded to YouTube in 2008 or earlier, so then I might have a better chance of me finding that specific video that I want. I think it's a revolutionary idea. Archive.org already has something like that, where you could search by year, like year the data was made, or year something came out. Like publication year. It's not necessarily when it was uploaded, but this would be the publication year. When was this thing created? When it was originally? Because I actually did put the years my stuff was originally created when I uploaded my works to archive.org. But the earliest ones in there is when I documented the very first ever Jason and Mason story, which is now branded as being a prequel to my Jason and Mason series, where Jason and Mason are kids in the year 1992, and they have to go after Dr. Gruzzer's evil plan ruling the world. I documented that story in the summer of 2011, and years later, I still think highly of it. It's actually one of the few old Jason and Mason stories that came up with way back then. It's actually still in the modern day Jason and Mason canon today. Go figure on that part. So it looks like we've, just about won. The margin was actually kind of smaller this time around than usual. Still pretty large, but not as big as some of the other ones have been. And that's mostly because we started with fewer troops, and they actually had kind of an advantage over us. They're very, strategically planning people. I never actually played the Star Wars Empire War games. I just saw some of them on the I saw Super Vader Man play them a long time ago, and I thought that was pretty good. Some people may say my channel's competing with Super Vader Man's YouTube channel. He hasn't uploaded a video in a very long time, and he's done a lot of Let's Plays of Star Wars games, and mostly pretty much all his Let's Play Star Wars games. And now I have ideas to LP all those Star Wars games, or most of those Star Wars games he LP'd, and more, which is kind of what I'm doing right now. So some say I might actually try to compete with him. My channel's been a lot more active lately than his has. He hasn't uploaded new videos since like 2017 or so, when he did his Let's Play of Star Wars, Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, I think is what it was called. That franchise, that series that keeps changing its name. First it was Dark Forces, then it was Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, then it was Star Wars Jedi Outcast, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. The series keeps changing. I think then there's Jedi Academy, Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. The series keeps changing its name as it goes on. There actually is something from Dark Forces in this game. It's the Dark Troopers. Dark Troopers, when they first appeared, or one of the first things they ever appeared in was Dark Forces. Dark Forces is one of the first Star Wars games to have an original story. It wasn't just directly based on any of the movies. Because those Super Star Wars games in the SNES are mostly just based on movies, and they weren't really original stories at all. It was just them playing, retelling them. I was never really into those Super Star Wars games as much when I was a kid. But I started to like them more, and I play on the emulator, and I use save states, and I play on easy. The game's always fun when you play on easy, right? And you use save states. Yeah, that's right. I actually admit to using save states when I play that game. I'm actually admitting that I'm not a wimp. Well, actually, I kind of am a wimp, but I'm admitting to be a wimp. Does that make me a wimp for admitting I'm a wimp? I'm just waiting for them to... Oh, I see where the last troop is. I'm just waiting for them to fly their white flag so they could... No, I don't think they'll do that. So that's might as well let's find that last trooper. May take his command post. I think we're going to be going to the carbon freezing chamber. This is where they froze Han Solo in mayonnaise. I mean chocolate. No, that was carbonite, yeah. So a friend of mine used to come up with that Han Solo was frozen in chocolate, and then Han Solo later drowned in mayonnaise. Yeah, he used to come up with all the funny stuff, that friend of mine. So I think we're just about one. See, here's that place where Luke got his hand cut off, and Darth Vader said, I am your father, and I fell down. Then Luke fell down that thing, he didn't die. And apparently, well, what matters is it's victory now, so yeah, it's the end of this part. This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.